A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
My bitch a choosy lover, never fuck without a rubber. Never in the sheets like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch hoes get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the buck for $40 in the club. Fucking up the game, bitch, it gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling business off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some hoes wanna choose, but them bitches too scary. Your bitch chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a fairy.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
Baby, you been rolling solo, time to get down with the team. The grass is greener on that other side, if you know what I mean. I show you shit you never seen, the 7 wonders of the world. And I can make you the 8th if you wanna be my girl. I say my girl, I don't mean my woman, that ain't my style. Need a real street stalker, walk a green mile. You piling up the paper on the dining room table, cause you able to realize I'm the truth and not a fable. Baby, rockin' Russian sable, keep that chiller on the rack. What I look like with some $1,000 shit up on my back. I'm $1 million man, they need $1 billion bitch. Put my pimpin' in your life, watch your daddy get rich. Easy as ABC, simple as 1, 2, 3. Get down with UGK, Pimp CBU with B. Cause what's a hoe with no pimp, and what's a pimp with no hoe? Don't be a lame, you know the game and how it goes. We try to get chose.
A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. A pimp, not a simp. We eat so many shrimp. I got iodine partners.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Artie of Artie's Corporate Fiction. Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys have had a fantastic day. We have a very interesting show for you tonight. What I have in front of us is something that some of you have already heard, some of you may not have heard. I know a lot of people in my audience may not have heard this, but I know much of you have. For those who are unaware of who the heck is Bungie and what is Bungie, Bungie is a video game developer. They are most well known for being the original developers of the Halo franchise that they have since sold off to Microsoft and 343 Studios. But now they are most well known for being the developers of the Destiny franchise. If you don't know what Destiny is, it is a loot shooter from year 2014. I actually played the shit out of the first Destiny back in the day. Never really got into Destiny 2. But that's neither here nor there. The big news today is that they are suing John Doe's 1 through 10. And we're gonna read together here why they are suing them and why I think that this is pretty significant if you are a content creator on YouTube. I know a number of creators have already talked about this. Moist Critical, I've watched his video. I know, oh my goodness, the other attorney that I follow, he just dropped a video yesterday or on Sunday talking about this. I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm gonna have to double check here. I feel terrible about it. Oh my goodness. Now I feel like a jackass. Anyway, I know several other creators have already talked about this. So, and also, yes, as Mark already noted, PlayStation has recently purchased Bungie for about $3 billion. So that should tell you. So we're gonna go right here to and I have a copy of I was able to get a copy of the complaint. And we're going to go through it, and we're going to talk about exactly why this is pretty significant, not just to the gaming industry, but specifically to YouTube and to content creators like myself and like all of you out there. So, this suit was filed on March 25th, 2022, in the United States District Court, Western District of Washington. Bungie Inc. plaintiff versus John Doe's number 1 through 10. So, and you're going to see the complaint for fraudulent DMCA notices, false designation of origin, copyright infringement, business defamation violation of the Washington Consumer Protection Act, and breach of contract. Plaintiff Bungie Inc. and for its complaint against defendants John Doe's number 1 through 10, respectively, alleges as follows. This action arises out of a series of fraudulent Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, takedown notices that an unauthorized and malicious actor or actors, Doe defendants, provided to YouTube with respect to content that supposedly infringed Bungie's copyrights in its popular and successful Destiny franchise, disrupting Bungie's community of players, streamers, and fans, and causing Bungie nearly incalculable damage. I couldn't get the accent right. For those who may know what I'm talking about. Well, we'll get to that, Jassa. As discussed herein, Doe defendants were able to do this because of a hole in YouTube's DMCA process security, which allows any person to claim to be representing any rights holder in the world for purposes of issuing a DMCA takedown. In other words, as far as YouTube is concerned, any person anywhere in the world can issue takedown notices on behalf of any rights holder anywhere. A disgruntled infringer or competitive content producer, for example, can issue takedown notices purportedly on behalf of Disney or Fox or Universal or even Google itself. All they need to do is fill out the video removal form located at this URL, have a Google account, including upon information belief, one created the same day and with fake information, and 3, fill out information and click the verification buttons, fraudulently certifying that they have the right to submit the takedown request with no verification done by YouTube. Between March 17, 2022 and March 22, 2022, a malicious actor or actors exploited that security loophole to issue takedowns purportedly on behalf of Bungie to YouTubers and streamers who had, with Bungie's permission as granted in Bungie's legal policy on media, located at this URL, uploaded videos of their gameplay to YouTube. Between March 17th and March 22nd, a malicious actor or actors exploited that gaping security loophole to issue takedowns purportedly on behalf of Bungie to YouTubers and streamers who had, with Bungie's permission as granted by Bungie's legal policy on media. Wait, did they just Wait, I think they... Did they just copy the previous sentence? I think they just did. Alright, they did. Using a fake Gmail address that was, upon information and belief, newly created, which did not match the addresses used by Bungie's brand protection vendor for legitimate DMCA notices, although it had a similar syntax to those addresses. Upon information and belief having been deliberately chosen so as to cause maximum confusion among recipients and led them to believe it was legitimate, and via notices that were otherwise inconsistent with the substance of Bungie's legitimate DMCA notices, Doe defendants issued a wave of takedown notices targeting non-infringing Destiny 2 videos. Using the same fake Gmail address that was used to issue the wave of fraudulent takedown notices, Doe defendants circulated messaging to affected uploaders that appear calculated to discredit the authenticity of the takedown notices legitimately issued by Bungie's authorized brand protection vendor by claiming, falsely, that DMCA notices attached to the vendor's email address, DaveThompsonCSC@gmail.com, were also fraudulent. Using a second fake Gmail address that was, upon information and belief, newly created, which did not match the addresses used by Bungie's brand protection vendor for legitimate DMCA notices. See, there's a level of redundancy in a lot of these filings, but it's more the CYA when it comes to filing complaints like this for the attorneys. You want to make sure that everything applies to everything, or as everything applies to everything as it should, so that there's no ambiguity, but it causes a lot of redundancy. This caused Bungie significant reputational and economic damage for obvious reasons. As discussed below, the Destiny community was bewildered and upset, believing that Bungie had reneged on a promise to allow players to build their own streaming communities on YouTube channels on Destiny 2 content. Destiny community members were also misled to believe that Bungie's brand protection agent was also fraudulent, causing confusion among users as to the authenticity of legitimate DMC notices. Bungie had to devote significant internal resources to addressing it and helping its players restore their videos and channels, an effort complicated by the fact that while YouTube has a form that allows anyone to claim to represent a copyright holder and issue copyright strikes, it has no dedicated mechanism for copyright holders who are being impersonated to let YouTube know about the DMCA fraud. As detailed below, this meant that Bungie had to work through several layers of YouTube context before it could adequately communicate and begin addressing the problem. So, what's very indicative about this complaint is that it's not just calling out the does. They are ripping into YouTube and ripping into YouTube's DMCA process in this complaint. Though Bungie does not currently know the identities of DOE defendants whose anonymous conduct occurred just days ago, it will discover them soon via subpoena or otherwise and will promptly amend this complaint once it does. For now, though, and particularly given with the ease with which malicious actors can exploit YouTube's flawed DMCA practice and harm Bungie's community, Bungie brings this action to recover for the DOE defendants' tortious and illegal conduct and frankly, to demonstrate to anyone else stupid enough to volunteer as a defendant by targeting Bungie's community for similar attack that they will be met by legal process. Honestly, that's my favorite fucking line. I love it. Oh, man. It's great. It's great. They established the parties, who Bungie is, jurisdiction and venue. This court has personal. This is interesting here. This court has personal jurisdiction over DOE defendants because upon information of belief, DOE defendants are Destiny 2 players who consented to jurisdiction in the state and federal courts in King County, Washington by accepting the terms of Destiny 2's limited software license agreement, which provides that the licensee agrees to submit to the personal jurisdiction of any federal or state court in King County, Washington. Gotta read them. Those terms and conditions, boys. You don't know what you're agreeing to. Additionally, this court has personal jurisdiction over defendants pursuant to RCW 265240, the Washington long-arm statute, because defendants committed tortious acts that caused Bungie injury in the state of Washington. Background. And I'm going to go through the background kind of briefly, because I want to get into the actual meat. Leonard French. Thank you, Steve. Leonard French. That's what I was thinking of, the other attorney who just dropped a video on this lawsuit. Leonard French. Destiny 2 both talks about Destiny 2, talks about some of the YouTubers that were affected by this. The only one that I know that I knew or know of is My Name is Biff. I understand that he's a really big Destiny lore content creator. And for instance, YouTubers like My Name is Biff and Dado have roughly 1 million or more subscribers who watch the videos about Destiny 2, its lore and gameplay. And this isn't just gratifying for Bungie, though seeing the community's love for its games is certainly that. Destiny's base game is free to play, as its character level, and gamers can play Destiny 2 without purchasing anything at all unless they want to. Instead, Bungie's income stream comes from, the usual content, expansions, currency, cosmetics, seasonal content, etc., etc. As a result, but this is also poignant to note that the reason why they're explaining the business model. Oh, I didn't know that, Aaron. Is that as a result, the level of connection and community that Bungie's players share directly affects Bungie's bottom line. They have 200 more copyrights and trademarks. Intellectual property. But so one thing that they're kind of noting here is that Bungie, and I think that Bungie is a developer that's kind of the hallmark of this, is that they're very cordial and very open to content creators, using using their Destiny to create their own content communities. And I think if you click on the link that they showed up above, going to their their terms of use of media, I think people have mentioned that they abide by the 80-20 rule, that at least they will allow you to create content for Bungie as long as at least 20% of the video is transformative, meaning you're commenting, there's dialogue, there's your own personal stuff. For the most part, my understanding is that Bungie is only going to strike down stuff like, entire cutscenes from expansion packs, for example, or entire music tracks that Bungie hasn't already uploaded themselves. So they actually, but also Bungie, just like Bungie uses a vendor, CSC Global, to handle its digital DMCA takedown notices for infringing content that does not comply with Bungie's intellectual policy, including content uploaded to YouTube. This is actually fairly common. It's usually you don't see the actual copyright holder itself, either content claim or takedown a media. It's usually through a third party that they outsource to do that for them. So, but they also point that at no point does CSC issue takedown notices on YouTube uploads related to Destiny without specific approval from Bungie's legal department. And CSC maintains a record of DMCA takedowns it executes on Bungie's behalf on or about March 2nd, 2022. At Bungie's direction, CSC initiated a series of DMCA takedowns, 41 in total, relating to infringing content that had been uploaded to YouTube for hereinafter the early March takedowns. All 4 early March takedowns related to music from Destiny 2's original soundtracks. Upon information or belief, the YouTube's actions in response to the early March takedowns were complete on or about March 16, 2022. Now, here's the kicker. Upon information and belief, though defendants were among the YouTubers whose videos received legitimate DMC takedowns as part of the early March takedowns. Upon information and belief, the email address connected with the DMC takedown notice that impacted the defendants' accounts was davethompsoncsc@gmail.com. Beginning on or about March 17, 2022, Doe defendants began submitting unauthorized DMC takedown notices to YouTube for videos that allegedly infringed Bungie's copyrights. Upon information and belief, Doe defendants created a fake csc@gmail.com Google account in order to submit the fraudulent takedown notices. And upon information and belief, Doe defendants identified themselves as Bungie Inc. when submitting some or all of the fraudulent takedown notices. Alternatively, upon information and belief, Doe defendants identified themselves as Bungie's authorized agents when submitting some or all of the fraudulent takedown notices. Doe defendants have no authority to submit any of the fraudulent takedown notices. Despite that, they targeted several members of the community, including my name is Biff or Bife, whatever the hell you want to call it. YouTuber with 966,000 subs, 594,000 subs, 54,000 subs, 17,000 subs. But here's the big. Indeed, Bungie's own Destiny YouTube channel got hit with a fraudulent takedown notice. They sent a takedown notice to Bungie's own channel. And they didn't think that Bungie wasn't gonna do something about that? This is what happened. This lawsuit is what happens when you fuck around and find out. And we're gonna go through it too. Oh man. Oh my goodness. So, on information belief, Doe defendants disseminated misinformation via an email address from the fraudulent address, Jeremy Wildand CSC In this email, though defendants falsely claimed that the legitimate agent's address had been issuing false takedowns for years, causing confusion among recipients of legitimate DMCA notifications calculated to cause recipients of legit takedown notices to file inappropriate copyright counter notifications with YouTube. So basically, these guys were straight up copyright trolls. They were out here to cause a mess with Bungie. Upon information believed, Doe Defense filed a fraudulent DMCA takedown notice targeting their own YouTube channel, purportedly on behalf of Bungie using the fraudulent alias JeremyWild.csc.com. Upon information belief, they filed a fraudulent copyright counter notice with YouTube, claiming that both the legit and the fraudulent copyright notifications were fraudulent. So, throughout all of this, the community lost their shit. A lot of them, as you said, the Doe Defendants attack sent shockwaves throughout the Destiny community. Community members described the loss of the falsely struck content as heartbreaking, horrible, and legitimately a tragedy. Because no, this is. I want to preface to you why people say this horrible, legit a tragedy, heartbreaking. Reason why is because it wasn't in. If you, those of you who are in the chat who have a channel of your own, you know that there's a difference between your video being content claimed and struck. If your video was content claimed, your video is still uploaded. Your video is still fine and it's still on YouTube. But the supposed copyright holder gets the revenue. So whatever ad rev that comes out of that video, the copyright holder takes it. What these guys did wasn't content claim. They struck the video, meaning that they took out the videos entirely. So that's what, and if you strike it a channel multiple times, you run the risk of taking down entire channels. So that's why people are saying it's heartbreaking, horrible, and a tragedy. And then content creators describe the chilling effect that false takedowns had on their work, saying, "I'm scared to make new Destiny videos, let alone keep the ones I've already made up. And I'm just worried that my channel is gone forever because of this." So, as one community member explained, some of the people running these channels use their main accounts for this and couldn't take the risk, just unlisting videos that doesn't protect them from strikes at all. If it was self-delete or permanently get blacklisted by Google. The community sorrow quickly turned to anger. Many fans reacted with disbelief and frustration, saying Bungie has always been a company that isn't a shitty soulless corp with this stuff, and I'm super appreciative if y'all can send us up to a flagpole to whoever can look into this. This is the type of thing that alienates a dev company from their fans. It's damaging to the community. I understand. Community members felt disregarded and betrayed, saying it feels like they don't care, complicit. So this is noting that the actions that they took fucked over Bungie's reputation for a time. They're establishing, because one of the complaints they're filing is defamation, and they're highlighting it by the aftermath of what happened here, by noting that this damaged Bungie's reputation.
And there was much rejoicing.
I'll get to the super chats in a bit and the memberships, but thank you guys for your support. Because the false takedown emails use the same CSC identification style as the authorized agent, many members believe that these were authorized takedowns, saying Bungie hired a third party to enforce copyright. This is 100% on Bungie. And then further, these takedown notices were disseminated across media: GameIndustry.biz, GameSpot, PC Gamer, Forbes, and the German web portal WinFuture. On March 18th, 2022, when the first complaints about the takedown notices began coming to Bungie's attention, Bungie's Deputy General Counsel, James Barker, reached out to Bungie's brand protection team at CSE to inquire about a suspicion takedown targeting Azet Cross, as it was described, that was described via social media, noting that he did not see Azet Cross takedown in the CSC provided list of completed or any requests targeting Azet Cross, and asking CSE to confirm whether there was a takedown. By email, roughly half an hour later, CSE responded that it had no such record either, nor any secondary records that would suggest any such takedown had occurred by mistake, and asked for more information so I could confirm, with certainty that it was not the source. After being provided with details of the timing of the copyright complaint filed against Astacross, I keep mispronouncing that, sorry. CSC confirmed that they had no record and the complaint likely did not come from them. Mr. Barker then forwarded the image of the takedown from the user, noting the oddity of the fact that the notice indicated the content was removed by Bungie Inc. When any removals handled by CSC would not have used that language, and Bungie had not authorized anyone else to take issue to the takedowns. And here we have an example of, I believe this is an example of, yeah, you were given these guys were given a full-on strike. And again, 3 strikes and you're out. 3 strikes and your channel's gone. And it is, and getting 1 strike is unbelievably damaging. So, the complaint were removed by the Bungie Inc. Based on those issues, Mr. Barker asked if CSC believed it could be a spoof, and CSC responded that it believed so, but it would need until Monday, March 21st to confirm fully. CSC issued a retraction notice requesting reinstatement of the video, but on Monday... Oh, God, here we go, guys. Get ready for this. Guys, get ready. CSC issued a retraction notice requesting reinstatement of the video, but on Monday, March 21st, it reported that YouTube had denied the retraction request because the retraction notice was not sent from the same email that had issued the initial fraudulent takedown notice. So Bungie at the time couldn't do anything. So these content creators got strikes, but Bungie, the actual holder of the copyright, couldn't do anything on their end at the outset. Oh. Let me see. Hold on a second here. I wanted to do So. Yes, it also can affect your live streaming capabilities, as I found out myself a long time ago. What am I looking for? This is what I'm looking for. Okay. Want a little something background to music, I don't know. I hate the silence. Anyway, moving on. In the interim, the nature of the defendant's impersonation of Bungie had become clear. And Bungie reached out to YouTube to try to address the issue. On Saturday, March 19th, under the direction of Bungie's legal team, Bungie's social media manager reached out to the account representative for Bungie's YouTube channel, Walker Adamson, to report that they had seen a number of additional users and their own channel get hit with takedowns from a Bungie Inc. Bungie also informed Adamson that he had confirmed with that it was a malicious impersonator and asked for Google's assistance in identifying those defendants and next steps to prevent them from continuing or recurring. 10 minutes later, after receiving an out-of-office notification from Mr. Adamson, Bungie's social media manager passed the same message along to Magali Hewitt, Google's head of games publishers, and the person that the out-of-office message identified as to help while account representative Mr. Adamson was out. An hour later, after receiving no response, Mr. Barker added Bungie's legal department to the email conversation and CC'd Bungie's general counsel, Don McGowan, indicating how serious of an issue the attack was for Bungie, providing detail on Bungie's legitimate takedown notices and asking Google to provide information on those defendants. Mr. Barker also instructed Google to block any new DMCA reports that purported to be on Bungie's behalf until further notice. Upon information to belief, Google did none of those things. Of course they did. Thus, on Sunday, March 20th, that having received no response, Mr. Barker emailed Mr. Hewitt that the situation was escalating and that a number of trusted streamers, including My Name is Biff and Astacross, were receiving fraudulent takedown notices. Mr. Barker asked for Ms. Hewitt for a response as soon as possible, information on how the defendants were able to so easily impersonate Bungie, and most importantly, information on what YouTube can do to begin mitigating the damage done to our community streamers. Mr. Barker also asked for a more reliable way to contact someone at YouTube to handle exigent issues like this one. Roughly 40 minutes later, having still received no response, it was the turn of Bungie's global franchise director to try and get some sort of response from Google regarding the spiraling problem. Thus, at 2:08 Pacific, Bungie's global financial director emailed additional Google personnel, Luma Hamad, Jason Bentley, Kendra Johnson, and Andrew Conway, along with Ms. Hewitt, to reiterate that Bungie had a corporate impersonator who is doing damage to some of our trusted community streamers on YouTube, and that Bungie was looking to connect with somebody who could assist, and specifically to introduce Mr. Barker to the Google team. Mr. Barker then responded with a recap of the issues above, repeating the same information that Bungie already provided to Google, that someone was impersonating Bungie and sending fraudulent DMCA notices to members of the community. Mr. Barker also reiterated Bungie's request that Google block new takedowns, restore any takedowns processed after March 16th, and obtain and provide any information on the DOE defendants on how they were able to accomplish their takedowns. Ms. Johnson, YouTube's director of game publishers and commerce content partners, responded to ask whether the issue was that Bungie's channel had been compromised or only that it was being impersonated as part of DMC takedowns, and whether Google had gone through standard channels to help file a help ticket. Mr. Barker replied that the issue was simply DMCA-related impersonation, that YouTube's opaque support process was running through them through a circular loop from contact us back to the help community. Ms. Johnson responded that she would connect with YouTube's takedown notice team and report back. On Monday the 21st, Ms. Hewitt responded to Mr. Barker's email about the escalating situation, apologizing for the delay, and note that she was looping back in Mr. Adamson and that they would get back to Bungie as quickly as possible that day. At 11 a.m., Mr. Barker reached out back to Mr. Adamson and Ms. Hewitt to update them on the development discussed more in detail below, that Bungie had identified a fraudulent email as the email address responsible for at least some of the takedown notice, and that another Damian Reynolds CSC as having sent taunting and threatening emails to CSC. Oh. Mr. Barker reiterated that the only people authorized to issue DMC takedown notices were CSC, and provided the two legitimate email addresses from which such notices might come. At 5:29 p.m., Mr. Barker emailed Mr. Adamson to note that he was looking forward to any updates. 5:29 p.m. Oh my gosh. And pointed out that while several of the unauthorized takedowns have been reversed, Bungie still had no way to tell how many may have been issued, but not yet brought to Bungie's attention through social media. At 8:09 p.m. that day, David from YouTube's gaming support team responded that YouTube did not have an update yet, but should be able to provide one by Tuesday the 22nd. On Tuesday the 22nd at 1:17 p.m., having not received the promised update, Mr. Barker again asked for Google to speed up its response and provide critical information. We need a couple of things urgently, italicized and underlined, in order to mitigate the harm to our community. Because again, they already noted that pissing off their community will I feel like they're one of the, I feel like based on this complaint, Bungie seems to be one of the few game developers that understands this, that pissing off your community is going to fucking hurt your bottom line. And so that's why they're acting with such fucking urgency. Shit. A list of all the channels and uploads that were actioned by the 2 users who used fraudulent email addresses so that we can request reinstatement. A list of all the channels and uploads that have been actioned purportedly on behalf of Bungie Incorporated. What you are able to do in order to make sure that takedowns on the YouTube that are on behalf of Bungie Inc. are by only an approved set of email address. What you are able to provide about the identities of the users who have actioned on behalf of Bungie Inc. as those threat actors are causing active harm to CSE reputation and to ours and have threatened employees at CSE. At 3:18 p.m. on March 22nd, Google provided an update. It had terminated the accounts that submitted the fraudulent requests and all fraudulent submissions that would be reversed, but Google would not share any information identifying who the fraudulent users were, including channel identifiers, email addresses, or identifying information without a law enforcement request or civil process. Fortunately for the people whose videos were targeted by the fraudulent takedown notices, Bungie has the financial resources to begin that civil process in order to meet Google's requirements. Motherfucking Bungie is opening up the wallet on behalf of its creators. These guys fucked up. While Bungie's legal department management and executives were attempting to negotiate the Byzantine procedural labyrinth Google required before it would address the fraud its users were committing, let alone identify who its fraudsters were, Doe defendants themselves were gloating, confessing, and threatening. Over the weekend, the, quote, Damon Reynolds account began sending threatening emails to CSE with the subject line, "You're in for it now," and telling CSE better start running, the clock is ticking. At 12:41 a.m., Damien Reynolds emailed Dave Thompson, which is the official CSE email address, the following. "Hope striking everyone's content was worth it, asshat. You've now got Bungie's full attention. You really ought to grow up and get a life instead of tormenting people from behind a screen like a fucking coward. If I were you, I'd delete my Google account right now because Bungie and probably even Google are gonna come for you hard." Meanwhile, 2 YouTubers, Aussie Halo and Bresci, each forwarded Bungie's community team an email purporting to be from the Jeremy Wylands account taking credit for the fraud. The manifesto. The manifesto? Who the fuck are these edgelords? Oh my god. The manifesto reads like a hackneyed "look what you made me do" letter from the serial killer in a bad novel. What the fuck? These guys. All right. Hold on. Let me. I gotta do it. Wait. Yeah. There we go. Hold on. All right. Let me do this.
Greetings. I'm one of the people who filed false takedown notices on videos uploaded by you and others in the Destiny community. The other person filing takedown notice is David Thompson, CSE@gmail.com, whom I will refer to as David Thompson. I'm not aware of any other email addresses that are being used to issue fraudulent takedowns. I'm also keeping some parts of this email confidential for obvious reasons. With that said, there's more to this that you should know. As is obvious, I'm not employed by CSEs, and I have no affiliation with Bungie. The same applies to Dave Thompson. YouTube's copyright takedown system is incredibly flawed. Their verification system for takedown requests is so gullible that people such as I and Dave Thompson are able to file takedowns with it without any legitimacy to our names. If you're looking to place blame it on YouTube for its sloppy copyright takedown system and Bungie for ignoring this issue for so long. I could tell you how I got YouTube to think I was a legitimate representative for Bungie. All it took was a single sentence. No documents, no license, no private information. Whoever did that Also, I did not issue takedowns on Bungie's own channels. Whoever did that is further proof that YouTube doesn't verify the identities of takedowns and claimants. I was directly affected by false takedowns from David Thompson several months ago, and many others were issued false takedowns by this person over the past few years. I believe with enough attention, Bungie might have been prompted to step in. The first few channels that were hit by takedowns didn't seem to grab any attention, so I had to escalate the matter. If I hadn't escalated the issue, many people would not have had their takedowns removed. You may choose to believe me, but at least I responded to some of the people whose videos I took down. The other frauds like Dave Thompson never replied because they're spiteful cowards who want their victims to be helpless and afraid. Dave Thompson has also been issuing fake takedowns for years with no repercussions. Although, unlike me, they've been playing it up safe until now by only issuing takedowns on a few videos to avoid Bungie's radar. I intend to get caught so that Bungie would take heed of the corruption that has been ensuing in the center of their YouTube community. I fully intended to retract my takedowns and stop issuing them after Bungie has acknowledged the issue and begun restoring people's videos, channels, or otherwise. If Dave Thompson went after more videos, I wouldn't be able to remove the takedowns since takedowns can only be retracted from the original claimant's email address. Otherwise, I would have undone all their actions and prevented this altogether. None of this was about copyright infringement, nor did it have anything to do with the Sony acquisition. In the future, you should expect the claimant's email address in the contact info field of a copyright takedown notice made on behalf of a large studio like Bungie to originate from a domain other than Gmail when determining its legitimacy. Finally, I know this hardly means anything, but I apologize to you and everyone else who was affected by my selfish actions. You have every right to be furious with me. My goal was to get Bungie to see the fake takedowns and stop them. That's all.
So this super genius believed that the Dave Thompson CSE was also a fake, not legitimate representative of Bungie doing fraudulent takedown notices. And so he didn't, so now he's facing this lawsuit on the incorrect assumption that his takedowns were illegitimate. He is a fucking idiot. First cause of action, DMCA 512F, fraudulent. Bungie represents and realleges paragraphs 1 through 97. Bungie holds the copyrights to Destiny and Destiny 2 games. They hold 200 copyright registrations. Oh, fuck. I might be getting Comcasted here, guys. Give us some time. All right. While Bungie is not yet aware of the specific content alleged. No, so, okay, so here they're saying they did not authorize to submit DMCA notices. At least some of the content was the subject of the fraudulent was not infringing because on information and belief, it complied with Bungie's intellectual property policy, and therefore the YouTubers who had posted it did so under license from Bungie. Upon information and belief, though defendants knew that they had no right to submit the fraudulent takedown notices, they were based on knowing and the fraudulent takedown notices were based on a knowing and material misrepresentations, violation of 17 USC 512. I mean, they basically one of the dudes basically have freaking admitted it in his manifesto. He admitted that he knew that what he was doing was fraudulent. As a result, yeah, basically, yeah. I'll get to you guys' thing when I get a chance.
And there was much rejoicing.
As a result of the defense actions alleged herein, Bungie incurred costs and expenses, including attorney's fees, and is suffering, and will continue to suffer substantial damage to its business in the form of lost profits and injury to its goodwill and reputation. Bungie is thus entitled to damages in an amount to be proven at trial, and preliminary and permanent injunctive relief. Second cause of action, false designation of origin. They own the Bungie trademark. The submission of the DMCA takedown notices YouTube is an act that impacts interstate commerce and therefore its commercial activity. They use the Bungie trademark in there, so therefore they fucked around by using their trademark, by insinuating that that the takedown notice came from Origin. So as such, Bungie is entitled to a award of treble damages and attorney's fees. And then the third cause of action is copyright infringement of a 17 U.S.C. 501. By submitting the fraudulent takedown notices, Doe defendants infringe Bungie's right under 17 U.S.C. 106 to authorize the public display and performance of a copyrighted works. The ad infringement was willful, as evidenced by the manifesto. As such, Bungie is entitled to damages and injunctive relief, including enhanced statutory damages of $150,000 for each fraudulent takedown notice that willfully infringed Bungie's copyrights. $150,000 each. In addition, upon information and belief in or about March 2022, content uploaded to YouTube by one or more of the Doe defendants was subject of the DMCA takedown notice submitted on Bungie's behalf. Until Doe defendants are identified, Bungie cannot determine with certainty which of its copyright content Doe defendants infringe, but upon information and belief, Doe defendants infringe content in which Bungie held a registered copyright include, at the very least, PA 2-282-670. While as a general policy and in the absence of factors beyond simply an infringing upload, Bungie does not typically sue infringers whose uploads were the subject of the DMCA takedown notice. Doe defendants' malicious conduct in filing the fraudulent takedown notice is more than enough in Bungie's judgment to qualify as an additional factor warranting an infringement suit for any infringement that was the subject of a legitimate DMCA notice. Bungie is thus entitled to actual or statutory damages for Doe defendants' infringements that were the subject of the DMCA notices directed at Doe defendants' uploads, as well as preliminary and permanent injunctive relief, costs, and attorney's fees. And fourth cause of action, business defamation. Bungie repeats and realleges the allegations. Bungie's takedown notice included the false claim that the takedown notices, here we go, were submitted either by or on behalf and with the authorization of Bungie. Doe defendants made that false claim with actual knowledge of its falsity. Doe defendants made that false claim with actual knowledge that, in implementing a DMCA takedown, YouTube would pass along that false assertion to the targeted YouTubers. Upon information and belief, Doe defendants made that false claim with the intent that targeted YouTubers would report to their subscribers, followers, and friends that Bungie had taken down their videos and/or channels. Upon information and belief, Doe defendants' intent was to cause anger and consternation at Bungie within the Destiny community, so as to get Bungie's attention and/or to stop Bungie from sending future legitimate takedown notices against Doe defendants' own illegally uploaded content. This is intentional and malicious conduct resulted in harm to Bungie's reputation. As a direct result of Doe defendants' defamatory statements, Bungie has incurred and continues to incur damages in an amount to be proven at trial. Fifth, violation of the Washington Consumer Protection Act. Doe defendants have engaged in unfair deceptive practices by fraudulently impersonating Bungie to issue false takedown notices. Doe defendants' practices occurred in trade or commerce, as alleged in the counts of the complaint. Doe defendants' actions were unlawful. Moreover, Doe defendants' manifesto, in effect, is calculated to discredit the authenticity of takedown notices legitimately issued by Bungie's authorized brand protection personnel by claiming falsely that DMCA notices issued by the authorized vendor was also fraudulent. Doe defendants' manifesto has already resulted in confusion among the creator community, causing at least one recipient of a legitimate takedown copyright notice to file a copyright counter notice on the improper basis that the authorized brand protection agent was otherwise. Moreover, there is a strong public interest in protecting creators and businesses from bad actors impersonating and misrepresenting them in the marketplace in order to fraudulently exploit their intellectual property rights to the detriment of the true rights holders and other parties. Though defendants' unfair and deceptive acts have directly and proximately caused Bungie to incur and continue to incur damages as a result of the foregoing, Bungie is entitled to an award of damages in the amount to be proven at trial, travel damages, and attorney's fees as allowed under the statute. And I think this is the final one, or maybe the second to final one. The sixth cause of action is breach of contract. The LSLA is a valid binding contract between Bungie and each individual player of Destiny 2. Remember, when you hit that agree button, you're signing it, you're agreeing to a contract. Bungie 2 cannot be played unless the user agrees to Bungie's LSLA. The LSLA is to play on full for the user in the game client prior to the user's first play. It's also made easily and readily available on Bungie's website upon information belief, based on the fact that though defendants uploaded videos that contain content infringing Bungie's copyrights and therefore must have played Destiny 2, the defendants agreed to the LSLA. Gotcha, bitch. The LSLA prevents users from copying, reproducing, distributing, displaying, or using any part of Destiny 2 except as expressly authorized by Bungie. Upon information and belief, though defendants display and use of Destiny 2 to create the content that was subject of a valid takedown. So basically what Bungie is doing here is that normally, you know, if somebody, you know, if there's a legitimate takedown notice on YouTube, right? Most of the time, the actual rights holder will simply say, take down the video, or content claim the video, or strike the video. Normally, it never goes further than that, even though they could, which is right here. Technically, the rights holder could actually sue you. They can do more than just simply request YouTube to take down the video. They can actually sue you in court. But normally, the rights holders don't do that because one, it probably costs more money than it's worth. And two, they don't have the time to do that for every single video that they would legitimately take down. But because these guys decided to be brazen and do this sort of like attack on Bungie and the Destiny 2 community, Bungie's like, nah, we're going whole hog. Not only are we suing you for what you did, which is fraudulently misrepresent yourselves as Bungie and do false takedowns, we're also throwing in the fact that you uploaded improper content on YouTube. We're also putting that into the suit as well. They're throwing everything at them. Jury demand. Damages to an amount of proven at trial. Preliminary injunctive relief for barring defendants and anyone acting in concert with them from impersonating Bungie and further infringing Bungie's copyrights or trademarks. Cost, attorney's fees, interest, punitive damages as allowed by law. Such as a relief as the court deems just and proper. So that is the complaint. And I think this may result in YouTube finally addressing their bullshit DMCA system. Because you know what, people might say like these whoever the fuck these guys are, they might be, you know, the catalyst that the catalyst that results in this, but yeah, sure, but the problem is they did more than just attack Bungie. They attacked other creators, and even then, their copyright takedowns were legitimate. They were authorized by Bungie. They thought that they weren't, and they were wrong. They assumed wrong, and so now they're facing the consequences. Oh man. So, all right, let's go through the super chats. So ultimately, yes, what Bungie did say that they're going to use a subpoena power to require YouTube to give out more information on who these jokers are, because for now they're still considered John Does. But I think what makes, again, it's I love the flourish that the attorney puts in here, but I think what everybody likes and what everybody's likes and what's reading from here is that Bungie is throwing all the shade at YouTube and Google for their bullshit. It's not just these jackasses. They're throwing the shade directly at YouTube, and that hopefully that means that YouTube will finally get to their asses in gear and fix this problem that's been going on for years. And it's only now that you have a company with money, with real money behind them, that may actually get it fixed. We'll see. So, Aaron, $5. I imagine that YouTube made it easy so that people wouldn't have to jump through hoops to protect their content. Unfortunately, they made it too easy. That might be the case, Aaron, but for God's sakes, the complaint illustrated perfectly just how easy it is to either A, send a fraudulent takedown notice, or B, if it's a third-party company that just wants the money, they can just content claim all this shit. There is no doubt in my mind that a ton of my videos from my gaming channel, and maybe from this channel, that have been content claimed by a third party that did not represent the actual holder. There's no doubt in my mind that has actually happened, and that's probably the case. The reason I don't fight it is because I make almost zero money from ad rev. I don't make any money from ad rev. I'm too tiny of a channel. Tones Overthinking says a $5 super chat. Oh my god, that manifesto, he created the problem thinking it was a solution in order to test them. Are we witnessing the genesis of the DMCA auditor? Yeah, maybe. Deacon, $5. Well, this is the first time I've seen Hardhead makes an empty wallet. Bungie has the coins for this. Indeed, they do. And then another $5. You would think with all the law content on YouTube that they would know better. Alas, they didn't do their homework. Kind of want to get them a skill share. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. I make the money off of jump scares, I guess. But really, honestly, YouTube's community needs to get their shit in gear. But there it is. That's the lawsuit. I'm not going to go any further because I wanted to make this short and sweet and have it specifically geared towards the lawsuit. I know there's a lot of recent videos that came out, a lot of auditor videos, a lot of soft set videos. Love to check them out, but I want to keep this focused and specified. So we're gonna call it here, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. I don't think I'm going to be streaming later on tonight. I'm probably going to keep on doing some more side quests in Horizon, but once I get to the story, I'll be live streaming that, of course,
And
for
there
you
was
guys.
much rejoicing.
Kit $195. Does the strong intro language make any difference, or is it more legal posturing for better conclusion? It's flourish. It's flourish, Kit. It doesn't necessarily mean one thing or another. Like for them to say like, you know, anybody stupid enough to try this that and the other. That's flourish. But if you look past the flourish, a lot of it is your standard complaint. But I think everybody, especially every content creator on YouTube, appreciated the attorneys throwing shade at Google for all of it. But thank you guys again. Have a good night. I will see. Oh, before I leave, I'll make this announcement now since I got a bunch of y'all watching. Thursday, My Cousin Vinny watch along. You have two ways of being able to do this. You can go to my Discord and we'll be able to watch it all together through Discord, or if you don't prefer to do that, I'll be watching along on YouTube. This is happening on Thursday at 8 o'clock. I will have a timer on YouTube to denote the runtime of when what part of the movie I'm at, because obviously I'm not going to show the movie, nor have the audio, because takedown notices. Am I right? So we are having the movie night finally on Thursday at 8 o'clock with my cousin Vinny. And be sure to join my Discord if you want to watch with me, or you can watch along on YouTube, and I'll be, giving my commentary, because a lot of that movie I watched when I was in law school. So, all right, take care, guys. Have a good night. Adios. Oops.
A simp, not a simp. A